up next, Elite Dangerous Odyssey in the media. Yeah. So FDev took a bit of a shellacking in the media this past week. Here's a sampling from Attack of the Fanboy in their Odyssey review. Elite Dangerous Odyssey is brimming with potential, but an armada of bugs and issues prevent it from surviving the landing. And then from Polygon.com, the headline was Elite Dangerous co-creator apologizes for Odyssey's buggy launch. And then the underline was connectivity issues and crashes plagued the launch. Now the new planet generation tech seems bugged. And there was a few others sort of in this vein in the first few days. An interesting one, though, that came out recently from PCGamesN. Odyssey's first major update includes a huge list of fixes. Elite Dangerous Odyssey's launch has been a bit of a rough ride. Frontier CEO David Braben has even gone so far as to take personal responsibility for the buggy state Odyssey arrived in, pledging to get issues fixed as quickly as possible. It seems he's as good as his word, as Frontier has released a significant update today that addresses an extensive list of bugs in the Space Game's new expansion. So it appears that maybe the work that's being done in the past week with all the patches and fixes and David's personal intervention, at a minimum, it's getting out to the media that's covering this, and they're sort of tracking it that way. So that's good, I guess. Let's get some input here about. We talked through a number of things, but specifically about sort of what we're seeing with, this is an event in the gaming industry. How is this being perceived by the media? What are the expectations? Kai, I think you wanted to lead this one off with some points about the evolution of the gaming and software industry and how Odyssey kind of plays into that.
So, yeah, basically, back in the day, if you go back to, 1980s, 1990s, even early 2000s, basically when you released a game, it sort of had to be perfect, because the way that it worked is you would get your game together, you would test the hell out of it, you would test it some more, you would focus group it, you had QA testers, you had all of that stuff, because when you were done, you certified it gold, and they pressed it onto a disc and they mailed it to stores. And the people that went and bought that disc expected it to just work and to work right. In the evolution of gaming, we've come to the point where now everything is online. And as it's online, you're able to push patches, you're able to push fixes, which is fantastic. From the standpoint of allowing developers and producers of games more freedom than ever to, expand what they can do with the game. That's great. But the unintended side effect of it is that it has made the entire industry lazy. And this is not aimed at Frontier. This is aimed at all game developers everywhere. I can't think of the last time I saw a major game launch, specifically an MMO, that didn't have sort of day one, week one patches, hot fixes, the second patch, the third patch, the fourth patch, the fifth patch, the .1s, the .5s, it's systemic across the entire industry. But the fact that everyone is guilty of it doesn't release any of them from their guilt, as far as I'm concerned.
Week, you wanted to jump in on this?
Yeah, I agree with everything Kai just said there. This is a common problem amongst the whole industry now, and it doesn't excuse them for it. I mean, we saw the disaster that Cyberpunk was, and I don't believe that Odyssey is at that level, but it's not far behind. And certainly the media is putting it right at that level for the most part. That being said, I think there's another reason for it, and you look at that same time period where the technology has advanced like this, so everything's digital and they can upgrade from afar. Since that time, the gaming industry actually makes more money than Hollywood does. And I think that has put more suits in power, and that puts more pressure on getting games out at a certain time so they can make certain profits at a certain, quarter and whatnot. And And that's when we have what happened with Odyssey. And I think that's a big part of it now, the money.
Yeah. And if someone was thinking that by releasing the game early, they could still take advantage of that, release while playing mechanism, well, obviously they leaned into way too far this time. And people are justifiably sore about it because they paid money for this. The media, now that this is a release and the media is treating it as such, that's how they're judging it. That's how this isn't like a gamma, I guess, is people have paid the release price for it.